Today I have a rant about legal US immigration. Now, a bit of a disclaimer to start. I am not an expert. I'm just a Canadian who has had some interest in moving to the States, and I lived there for a few years and I was trained there. Now, after leaving the States, I ended up in the Cayman Islands. And I treated many American tourists, and often they would say, "Oh, I wish you would come to our state. Then, if I ever have any troubles, I can see you again." And I tell them, I would consider it if it was possible. And they look at me all confused. You have a doctorate from the States. You have all the specialist training. Why wouldn't you be able to get a job in the States? Most Americans have no idea how difficult legal immigration can be. Let's say there's an American healthcare facility that wanted to hire me. Now, I actually wrote the American board exams, so the licensing part isn't an issue. The issue is just the work visa. There are over 70 different visa types, but this type of job would require one of the most common visas, an H-1B visa. In 2024, there was 760,000 eligible applicants, and there are only 85,000 of these visas available. Once they are assigned, and they're assigned by lottery, that's it for the year. Then anyone else who wants to apply, and anyone who wants to apply again, they have to wait till the next year, for the next round. So let's say there's a company that wants to hire you, they want to sponsor you for the visa, maybe they pay an immigration lawyer, maybe they pay for advanced processing, which is like a $2,000 fee. So they have all these fees, the applications, and because this lottery takes place once per year, depending on when they start talking with you, they might have to wait 6 months, 8 months, 9 months before knowing whether they've hired you or not. So that means they might wait almost a year for about a 15% chance, roughly, to hire you. Now, if you look at the numbers, you'd think it's closer to 12%, but there's some people who are exempt to the cap. And in researching and editing this video, I found that what I first researched when I was living in the States and the way it is now, they've made a couple changes. One of the changes they've made is that when I was first looking into this in 2019, you had to do all this application ahead of time. And now, because there's so many people applying, they now do a lottery before the formal application process so that companies don't have to pay the immigration lawyer necessarily or pay for the advanced processing before the lottery. So let's just throw all the names in and then the formal applications happen after. Regardless, they still have to wait all of that time for the chance to submit an application. Ridiculous. Now, I could open my own business and apply for an E2 visa. Now, an E2 visa is a visa where you need to go to the States to oversee running a business there. Now, to get this visa, you need to have cash. And ideally, the business is already purchased, running, and employing American citizens before even applying for the E2. Now, sadly, I'm too poor for this route. Now, I can't just have a business plan and say, hey, look, immigration, I'll start small and rent a small room and I'll build up money. And no, that's not going to be enough. That won't be enough to get an E2 approved. They have certain standards. I'm too poor. Now, the other route was for teaching. Now, I was a full-time college teacher for 7 years, and I've seriously thought about returning to teaching. I love teaching. Last year, I even took Harvard's teaching certificate program to tune up my pedagogical skills. Now, there is a special visa for Canadians to work, only certain jobs, and it's called a TN visa. And being a college or university professor or instructor qualifies for a TN visa. This visa is really easy to get. I can basically just show up at the border, fill out some paperwork there, they ask me some questions, and I can get right away. But with the difficulties of the horrendous H-1B visa, schools are scared to hire foreign teachers. Talking to multiple HR departments of schools I applied to, most told me that if they can find any qualified American, they discard all foreign applications. Now, some might be thinking, well, universities often hire these foreign researchers to come work at their institution. While I do have 7 peer-reviewed papers published, I'm not the research powerhouse that a university would jump through hoops to hire. So sadly, teaching in the US is unlikely to happen for me. And there's an issue with the US immigration system, a part of it that is archaic. And I'm resistant to apply to the States for this reason, even if I was offered a job for some reason. And I can give you an example. And the example could be this YouTube channel. Now, I don't have my YouTube channel monetized, but if I did, I wouldn't be able to upload videos while working in the States. You're only allowed to do work for the company on your work visa. That means no remote work for a Canadian company, no getting paid $40 to babysit your friends, kids for a couple hours, nothing like that. So it could be small, local, it could be international, over the internet. It doesn't matter. You're not allowed to be working while you're physically in the United States. Now, I make some passive income from selling an online educational course about ultrasound imaging. And if, let's say, I were need to answer some emails or maybe update the website, that would technically be violating the terms of an American work visa. These rules are archaic and they don't take into consideration the international nature of online work or income. Thanks for listening to my rant. Have a great day. Cheers.